G'day and welcome to the very first in a series of tutorials that we're going to do to uncover what is Polyweb and how do you use it. Well, simply Polyweb is a brand new way to do politics in the 21st century. Created here in Australia, we've got an idea and we're going to try to execute it. What we want to do is bring the engagement level in Australian politics to an all-time high. Instead of people just relying on their representatives from their local parties to take what they say to Parliament, we want to ask you directly and record the data, and that way it can be presented to Parliament any which way by any party all across the political spectrum. Now, the Online Direct Democracy Party has already chosen to use the Polyweb as their platform, and if they gain power, they will be using the outcomes developed from the Polyweb as their means to take the people's voice to Parliament. Now, it's open to all parties and anyone's invited to use it, and it is a free system. Alrighty, well, we might just jump straight into what the main component of Polyweb is, and that is voting on what are called Polyweb ballots. Now, ballots are just simply the bills and amendments that have been presented in Parliament, and we've put them up on Polyweb. Now, what you can do is jump onto each of the ballots and vote in accordance to how you feel about that particular bill or amendment. And hopefully, if enough people vote, we'll have enough of a voice to take to Parliament and say, listen here, this is what the people think, and you're going to have to start to listen. Alrighty, well, the ballots. Now, I'll just switch pages so you can see what I'm actually on about. And let me see here. There we go. You should be able to see my page now. Now, with any luck, we can click up here. As you can see, there's a menu across the top. We'll just return to the national page so you can see what you'll land on this page when you first land on Polyweb. Now, once you've registered and have logged in, you'll be able to click on either of these ballots and it'll take you to a ballot. But if you're looking for all the ballots, they're up here in the ballot box. That just tells you all of them are in here. Now here, we'll click on this one. Now this ballot, it refers to a bill that in the media they are calling the backpacker tax. Now that's not its real name. Its real name is Income Tax Rates Amendment Working Holiday Maker Reform Bill 2016. Now that just gives you an indicator that it's a current bill, and we'd probably be looking at it. If a bill is closed, it will actually say it has been assented into law at the bottom, and it's no longer being talked about or utilised in Parliament. Now down the right hand side of this page is pretty much all the information that relates to the bill so far and its progression through the parliamentary system. Now also it contains a list of documents and transcripts that are provided by the Parliamentary Library in relation to the bill. So we have the first reading, the explanatory memoranda, and the transcripts of speeches, which senators have left speeches or done speeches in relation to this bill. And then finally there's a Bills Digest which wraps all that up, explains some of the outcomes and gives you a brief rundown of what that bill actually contains, whether there's been any adjustments or suggested adjustments, any committee hearings and that kind of thing. So here we have in the notes, this one's been referred to a committee, Senate Economics Legislation Committee report due on the 9th of 11th 2016. Now all that information will be in the Bills Digest. Now most bills, or a lot of bills, see a little bit of media attention. Now we haven't included any on this bill, but to try to present the information across the board and as unbiasedly and transparent as possible, we want to bring all sources, left, centrist and right, all together underneath each ballot so that a person can feel that once they've gone through that information, they can make an informed choice. And then it's just simply a matter of voting on the ballot. So here we have the ballot. You can see strongly opposed to this side, strongly support to this side. Now the levels here just are indicative of how strongly or how people oppose or how strongly people support something. Also, you can give your own opinion down, extra opinion down here, which is optional. You can rate the bill on all these components, which are humanitarian impact, the economic impact, social welfare impact, environmental impact, cultural impact, and then an overall rating for this bill. And this is optional. And finally, you can also include suggestions or comments that pertain to improving the bill, like what things would you change to maybe sway you from an opposition point of view to a supportive point of view. But again, these are all optional, so you don't need to fill these out. The only part you need to complete is this, and that is the ballot. Now you have to be logged in to vote, because that's how we keep track of all the votes. And once you submit your vote, you can then check all your previous votes on your voting portal, and that allows you to change any of your stances on any of the bills while they're still being debated in Parliament. But that pretty much sums up the ballot box, and thank you very much for sticking around, and we'll catch you next time.